Hello everyone, I am Laura Bodo and welcome to episode 2 of Let's Play Against the Storm. The most astute observers among you might realize that we are not playing on the same version as the previous episode, as the developers released an update since. This update not only removed our previous settlement from the map, but also brought a significant number of balance changes to the game. Notably, opening glades, regardless of whether they are small, dangerous or forbidden glades, will increase the forest's hostility by the same amount. The amount of hostility generated by a woodcutter has been increased. Hearth reduced hostility by a reduced amount and consume more fuel. And all luxury buildings have been overhauled and no longer automatically provide a free luxury, but provide a bonus only if they are fully manned. With that being said, let's jump into the game and start off by visiting the smoldering city to see what upgrades we unlocked with our previous settlement. Since our previous settlement was destroyed, I took the liberty of building a new one at a similar location that gave me the same amount of food. With that food, I am able to unlock the Deeds upgrade, which I can now track to measure my progression in-game. I have nothing more to buy or to do in the city, and therefore go back to the map to plan my next settlement. I choose a settlement that will provide me with a large amount of food, 21, and set up my resources. I obviously take the eggs, roots and wood with my embark points, and have a look at the modifiers. This is a mild map with 3 buffs and 2 debuffs, a decent amount of roots, eggs, meat, vegetables, mushrooms and berries, as well as a high amount of fiber and clay, and a low amount of resin and leather. As per my previous map, this should not be too difficult to map since there are no particularly rare resources of major importance. In addition, this is a Royal Woodlands map, meaning that harvesting is done 10% faster at all times. I pick a name for my settlement and choose Hyades, the name of a Greek nymph that brings rain. For the rest of the series, I will be choosing names of mythological creatures tied to rain, but feel free to leave suggestions in the comment section below. As some of you might have guessed from the title of the episode, I will be generating a very large amount of amber in this map, and will be clearing it without too much difficulty. But as they say where I come from, it is not the destination that matters, it's the journey. As I hop into the map, I look at the buffs and debuffs I have active and see that during the drizzle, just after a storm, I have a 100% boost to reputation gained from Resolve. My villagers receive a bonus if they have services, and my beavers and humans can have a 20% speed bonus if they have clothing. As a debuff during the storm, I have the usual -5 to Resolve caused by the storm. If the forest reaches hostility 1, villagers without houses have a 30% chance of perishing every 45 seconds, and if the forest reaches hostility 5, villagers have the same chance to perish if their services are not fulfilled. As per my usual, I start off by dropping a woodcutter's camp after a quick survey of the land. I look at what buildings I have to choose from the starting pool, and pick the carpenter for good plank production, as well as the ability to make training weapons that can then be transformed into packs of luxury, which are very valuable. I then picked a small farm for some food production, and the trapper's camp since there are eggs in my starting location. I put down my trapper's camp, as well as a stone cutter's camp, and picked my first cornerstone. I picked the improved vegetable production, not enthralled by the options, but thinking it might synergize with the farm. I then receive my first orders and choose to send 35 wood to my queen, since it's easy to complete and also provides me with parts which I might need for future camps. I then choose to trade goods worth 10 amber. The other order is perhaps easier to complete, but since the reward for the booming economy is 10 amber, this essentially means that I will be getting 10 free amber and 2 beaver. As my last order, I auto-pick the order requiring that I make at least 35 path. This is a free reputation point, and a 10% movement speed on path is welcome. I build a crude workshop to build a few planks for my carpenter. I quickly managed to complete my first order and send 35 wood to my queen, and decide to choose the smokehouse as my next building. I hesitated with the bakery, which works well with the farm, but since I do not have any means of transforming potential grain into potential flour, I would rather have the immediate jerky factory that also allows me to make some pottery and incense. I build a few houses and finish the order requiring me to build 35 pad, and get to choose a new building. As options, I hesitate between the lumber mill and the supplier. I thoroughly enjoy the great plank production offered by the lumber mill, but since I already have a carpenter, it's only a minor upgrade. But I also thoroughly enjoy the idea of being able to make trade goods with the supplier, as well as the improved fabric recipe. I look at what orders I still have open and decide to sit on the building while I wait for future orders to come in. The first storm arrives and passes rather uneventfully. As the new orders arrive, although I see an order for trade goods, I decide to choose to answer my queen's call to fulfill my villagers' need for jerky 30 times, since I have the best possible jerky recipe available in my smokehouse. For the next order, I hesitate, since I think that providing 8 packs of building material is extremely expensive, since it requires 40 planks, which is about 100 wood, but the permanent increase to resolve that is offered as a reward, as well as the parts and the 3 beavers, seem too valuable to overlook. I do make sure that closing is not part of a requirement I might have, and then choose to provide aid for the beavers. I then get to choose my next cornerstone, and wowzer, is that an easy choice. I have a choice between an increase in wood production at the cost of slower harvesting and planting, or get 5 manuscripts per minute, which are worth quite a bit of ammo. I immediately pick the 3 manuscripts and go on my merry way. I build a smokehouse, as well as a second woodcutter's camp, since I have a lot of idle hands hanging around. I realize that once more I have forgotten to build a trading post, so do so with haste. The second storm arrives, and since my hostility is still low, my villagers weather it without any particular difficulty. I build a few more shelters and reorganize my camps to keep everyone busy. I pick my new orders, as well as a new cornerstone, and choose to potentially improve my grain production if it ever comes. I choose my new villagers, and although I am hoping for beaver, I get none and get a pack of lizards instead. I fill up my smokehouse with said lizards, and even if my wood production isn't at its best, I put a beaver in my carpenter to make some plank for my packs of material and to transform those 3 manuscripts into 3 packs of luxury. I open a dangerous glade and get an event requiring that I provide 4 packs of luxury goods in 8 minutes or all my trade goods will be destroyed. I therefore move with haste some beavers to the carpenter to produce said packs of luxury. I hesitate to keep the goods for myself, in particular the tablets, but decide to go with the reputation point instead, since I don't have any orders for the tablets. I have yet to have chosen what building I want, but since my wood and lumber production is on point, I choose the supplier to make some potential trade goods and also make use of that great fabric recipe. I decide to make some incense while I'm at it and go check on the progress of my dangerous glade event. Things are progressing smoothly, and I reorganize my woodcutters. The dangerous event completes itself, and I am 10 amber and 0.75 reputation richer. The storm hits, and again, with my hostility at 0, it is rather toothless and harmless against my villager's resolve. I check my resources and decide to open another dangerous glade, seeing as I have a decent amount of planks and bricks. As the storm ends, I choose my new orders and snap at the opportunity to send some of my packs of luxuries and to keep the resolve of all my villagers above 75. I immediately send the required packs of luxuries to my queen and get a new building and choose the brewery. I then get to pick a new cornerstone, and lo and behold, I get more manuscripts. I told you I would be drawing in amber. I keep reorganizing my settlement a bit, making sure no one will starve and everyone is busy, and then complete another order. I get a new blueprint and pick the bakery in case I ever get those farms running. As the dangerous glade opens, a totem of denial appears and I send a few villagers and 10 planks its way. I happily realize there's some fertile land in that glade to exploit, so hastily clear the trees around that area to build my farm. As the trader walks in, I buy an improvised fabric recipe and trade my packs of luxuries for some more amber, and then purchase some free resolve and some fee fabric with said amber. I realize at that moment the power of luxury packs and then put every beaver I can spare in my carpenter. I pick a new building and pick the lumber mill for that sweet plank recipe and more importantly for that flour recipe. I complete an order and choose yet another building and go for the beaver house since I cannot make any ale or tea for the tavern. Once my farm is built, I immediately start producing some grain and then start building some houses for my beavers. I put those houses next to the carpenter, which is a beaver building in my mind, to create a cute little beaver town. As the storm hits, I realize some of my villagers do not have houses and risk death, and therefore remove all of my woodcutters to cut my hostility back to 0. I also build a hearth to be sure that hostility stays low. With the houses built, I get my woodcutters back to work without fear of losing any of them. I then rebuild the cellar in the hopes of perhaps making some pickled goods down the line and choose my newest set of orders. As a cornerstone, I pick some more free stuff in the form of 5 fiber per minute, build a lumber mill, and skip on getting new villagers since I already have 6 idle villagers. The more villagers I have, the higher the forest's hostility. I build a makeshift post to complete an order that requires I produce 12 packs of crops and provisions, and keep reorganizing my woodcutters to open a new dangerous glade. Just as that is about to happen, the traders comes in and I trade 70 luxury packs, which are worth about 100 for the amber, for pretty much everything the trader has to sell. I could only part with 69 luxury packs, but being a very generous viceroy, I tip the trader an extra pack and avoid having to pay 69 packs. I buy a forager's camp blueprint to keep my humans occupied and start my bakery production as well. With great and careful planning, the dangerous glade opens just before the storm hits, and I decide to clear the event and trigger the working effect, which generates -10 resolve to beavers as the storm hits. That was not very well played on my part. Luckily, since my hostility is so low, this poor decision does not have any impact on the settlement. Having built a few more structures, I take on a few new villagers and pick a cornerstone that gives me 2 infused tools every time a villager dies or leaves. This isn't particularly good, but the other cornerstone, over time, where each villager has a 1% chance to die every 60 seconds in exchange for a 30% increase in production, is just too costly. I decide to salvage the workshop, since it is of no particular use to me, and start clearing some more forest near my main settlement. As a new building, I picked a tavern, since although I cannot make ale, I can buy some, and lots of it. At this point, I am essentially waiting for the trader to come in. The storm hits, and I remove my woodcutters to reduce all hostility. I build some houses, and once those are built, I put my woodcutters back to work. I complete the order requiring me to send 12 packs of provision and crops to the queen, pick a cornerstone that gives me free roots, and then rob the trader of almost all her goods once more. As I complete a few more orders, I pick the blueprint for the human houses and soon after complete the map. I usually wait for the next video before visiting the smoldering city, but this time I was a bit too curious and wanted to know how much amber I had traded. As I check my various deeds, I understand that I have traded 604 ambers worth during that single map. None of that amber actually cost me anything since it all came from free manuscripts. I think this is a good place to end this video, and I hope to see you with episode 3.